Asperger. Asperger's syndrome is a developmental disorder that is recognized as having difficulties in the social interaction and the nonverbal communication, where the child with Asperger's syndrome lacks the ability to use language in a meaningful way. What causes Asperger's syndrome? The main cause is still unknown. It is argued that it is hereditary. There are genetic as well as environmental factors that affect the development of the brain. Signs and symptoms. The person with Asperger's syndrome tends to discuss himself and his interests without focusing on the interest of others. It is often one-sided conversation. He also finds it difficult to use the tone and the pitch of his voice in a way to modulate its volume. The person with Asperger's syndrome is unable to express his own feelings. He is not sure why people are acting in a certain way. According to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, most of the behaviors are apparent by age 3, and some behaviors may become more apparent when the child gets older. The person with Asperger's finds himself lost in a complex social environment, for he doesn't know how to behave, and he has a problem in interpreting non-literal language, finding it easy to have it concrete and literal. He often finds reading gestures or facial expressions difficult. It is problematic for him to comprehend emotional cues. He may say inappropriate things to the situation for misreading the social or the emotional aspect of it. He often seems to have low eye contact. Individuals with Asperger's syndrome often show awkward body language in their posture and movement, which embodies their difficulty in motor coordination. So sports can be an area of difficulty. They do it well in individual sports that becomes problematic in team sports with the lack of balance and the problem of muscle control. These people get easily annoyed by noise, light, or certain textures. Early signs of Asperger's is a video clip that shows a man sharing us his childhood moments as a child with AS. AS stands for Asperger's syndrome. There was a scene on the sandy beach, and this child, being a toddler, was hugging his mom tightly in order not to let his feet touch the sand. The man said that one day he felt as if doing a big achievement for being able to drink half a can of fizzy drink. For he said that even the tiniest sip was massively overstimulating due to food sensitivity. The man said that when he was given a toy to play with, he used to think of its physical properties more than what it used to represent. In the class, the man said that he used to be bored and frustrated and had unique answers showing creativity. He was perceived as having learning difficulties at one time and in another as being a high achiever. Individuals with AS struggle often with routines and transition periods. When they move from one task or activity to another, they exhibit difficulty and challenge in the handwriting process when using the motor control to do written expressions. The student with Asperger's syndrome can be talented and have abilities that are very high functioning. He can be brilliant and have IQs that can be extremely high. He may have particular interest in unusual topics or objects. He may be inspired by the specifics and details that constitute something, such as the decorative iron work on bridges, and becomes quite expert at these things. Strategies used by the teacher. As a teacher, the classroom routines should be kept consistent and clear. There should be additional guidance provided for the student with Asperger's syndrome. Helping his classmates understand how to deal with him is extremely useful to help them cope in case they experience a meltdown. The teacher should use positive reinforcement to modify the skill or behavior of the student with Asperger's syndrome. The student's interests and strengths should be incorporated creatively into the teaching curriculum. These interests can be used as positive reinforcement for showing good behavior. When the student with Asperger's syndrome feels frustrated or bothered by any kind of noise, the teacher should take him to a quieter environment that is safe to calm him down, so that he can share what he is upset about. He may get control and come back to his classmates. The teacher should not confront the student with AS, for he may not be able to comprehend others' authority. It is very necessary to give the student time to recompose by letting him sit in a special study desk that should be in the front. His teacher and the counselor can let things go back to normal. Most of the time, the teacher has to do a great effort to let the student express what happens to him. Experts encourage teachers to talk with parents, for they are the best to know their child. The teacher should not force the child with AS to look at him while discussing a lesson, for the child concentrates better when he doesn't make eye contact. Forcing him to do something that he doesn't like may break his concentration. The teacher should be understanding when the child with AS says offensive words or expressions, for he lacks the comprehension of social norms. The teacher should avoid singling out the child with AS by stating the command explicitly as a general rule for all to follow. It is preferred to use visual cues that include schedules, charts, graphs, pictures, and posters. Comic strips can be extremely effective in this aspect. Students with AS may have poor motor coordination, so it is suggested that pool or table tennis can be practiced for improvement. The teacher should use clear literal language to ensure the understanding of the student with Asperger's syndrome and apply the differentiated instruction to have inclusive education, giving the right of these kids and everyone else to study. Thank you for watching.